sorry about that. We didn't know how many people was even planned for. Oh, this is last week. I was kind of, oh no, and they didn't show up. But, we had a lot of people show up, and I appreciate everyone coming. It's kind of a big event for me. We've been working on this book for over 2 years. I like to say too, I've been at the morning, and you can work your way around, see if you want some food. Thanks for coming. Um, but it's been like 30 some years in the works. You know how that works. So appreciate y'all coming. I want to kind of start by acknowledging people that have participated and important in my life. I think that's a thank you. So now I'll talk a little bit about the book. I'm going to tease it a little bit because we're giving the books away free, so you guys can read it, right? So the first one, it's like when I mentioned to people, I had that response today. I said, I'm writing a book, and everybody's like, what? You know? So just to kind of address that, and I know you guys have worked for me, you get my emails and text, and you realize Bill maybe doesn't even know how to do punctuation. They're kind of drop that, and I don't like to capitalize things because you got to do an extra step, right? So you guys are thinking, how could he ever write a book? But what I did was I partnered, and you can see the name on here, Wendy Walters. It's on there too, and hopefully Wendy's out there live. But it's very open gates. The guys that work for me, we talk about the open gates way. It's like, hey, this person's a very good writer, very good technical writer. I want the book to turn out, so why wouldn't I collaborate with her? So Wendy did a lot of the technical writing, but really there's much more, and I want to thank her first off because she did a lot to make this turn out. And she was along the way though. She's kind of counselor, coach, encourager. Also, that person that kind of pushes you in the back, right? And says, "Step out, man!" And that's why we're doing this today. So whatever you call that person, she was that too. So thank you, Wendy. If you're out there, she might be online, but appreciate everything that she did to make it successful. Probably it would not have happened without us. Very appreciative. So other one, most influential person in my life. I can't have her on this, but my mom. Anyway, there's a dedication of I can talk to her because if she was here, she'd be crying. I'd be crying. My kids would be crying. We'd all start crying. No, I don't want to keep doing that. So I'm going to stay focused and move ahead. But anyway, I want to recognize that. You'll see the dedication. Family. I got family, 6 kids. For those that know, 14, going on 16 grandkids. If I counted right, not even got a car because I'm always going through this racing. Sarah's got 5, that's 9 plus having one. By the time I get to the end, I'm like, am I right or not? So it's pretty much everybody's pregnant all the time. Kind of look around, figure it out. We've got a lot of great grandkids. Family's a blessing, and they're focused on. Elon Musk was talking about this. Population closing, right? Well, my family's trying to offset. I think there's going to be a good time. But thanks, family. Should recognize Robert too. I wouldn't be doing this today without Robert. Robert's put everything together, and pretty much with the book thing, I was kind of bogging down. When you think about all the things you have to do after you have a book published, I just kind of bogged down. So Robert's kind of pulled that off for me. So thanks, Robert. And of course, those that did all the work here, Becky and Hannah, Caitlin, whoever came, all the people that worked on this, I appreciate it. Okay. Friends, I got friends here. Mark and I have been friends for how long, Mark? 13, 14. Yeah, lunch every week, pretty much. And there's other friends here, some friends of mine I haven't seen for a long time. Appreciate you guys all coming. Upper Deer Creek, kind of like I spent a lot of my formative spiritual years there at Upper Deer Creek, and there's a few people here. You guys are leaders, and you'll notice the book I talked about Upper Deer Creek, all in a good way. So Upper Deer Creek kind of played with a lot of me. Appreciate that. Now I'm attending the Church New Life in Wellman. We'll hear from there. Thanks for coming, guys. They're actually building a new church, renovating, whatever the right word is. So that's exciting for you guys. Company, all you guys coming to the company, appreciate it. Man, I was hoping I wouldn't get emotional. We got a great group of people. I quite appreciate it. Well, I'll tell people, myself, I mean, Open Gates Way is kind of collaboration, right? And I always say, I'm exaggerating a little bit on both sides, but it's like, I couldn't run a lemonade stand by myself, you know? But with our team, I really say, I told Jeffrey this last, we can do anything, maybe a little bit exaggerated, but I feel like the team we have and the way we work together, it's a very talented group of people. I really appreciate you guys coming. Retrograde, got a couple of retrograde guys. This is we'll talk a little bit about that in the book, but my son, he's Michael. There's Michael. He heads up retrograde ministries, drug and alcohol rehabilitation. One of my best days of the week is part of the week is Thursday night. I get to be with these guys. That's all we want. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here. And just all your other business associates and stuff, and really the town of Kelowna. So I've kind of included all you guys today because it really flavored everything that I've done in the book. There's a lot of history, culture. I've named a couple of creeks in the book, Kelowna coffee shops in the book, JW is kind of these local things, and it really has had an impact on me. So thank you. So, but I want to end it by thanking. I know the guy that wrote the number one bestseller. Does anybody know what that is? I could give you a hint. So I looked it up. I wanted to make sure. It was like five. How's it going? Good, how are you? But sold the 5 to 7 million. Anybody have a guess who that is? Yeah, God wrote it, right? So know him, could get to me, and obviously impacted how this book turned out. What's cool about it is he kind of followed both of these way too. He has co-writers also, right? He uses us, and I just think about today's great working for him, right? So I want to recognize that, and kind of stopping there. But again, I want to just say thanks everybody for how you've contributed to that. Thanks. Now, the book. And I don't want to say too much because so people would ask, is this a biography, a business book, self-help book? Is it a Christian book? And my answer is kind of like, yes, it's all of those things. The one thing I want to point out is, we're all physical beings and we're also spiritual beings. And oftentimes that gets split apart, and I'm bringing that back together. We're all one being here, and I speak to kind of all of that. So it's all those different things in the book. And what I do is I use as a backdrop, Kelowna, Wellman. I just forget to mention Wellman. I don't want Wellman people to be sensitive, but it is Kelowna and Wellman. And the influence there, and I have this fictitious individual, I call him Levi. By the way, there's Levi. Okay, it wasn't focused on you. Okay, so Levi was just a name I've used. Composite, you know how they do that? It's a composite character that has a lot of conversations. And what I do is I walk through these conversations, and it kind of lays out, my kind of working through how do I relate? What's my purpose? And the book talks about, I'll give you the questions that are raised. Where do we find fulfillment in life? I remember the kid thinking, why am I here? I don't know if anybody's ever thought that. So it's existential. Is that right? That question is, why am I here? And then it keeps going through life. It's like, okay, what's my purpose? I'm trying to, in the book, I'll kind of stimulate that hopefully to meet you here. What is our purpose and how do we figure it out? That's another one. Is God interested in the daily tasks and responsibilities beyond the hard? It's a good one. Is our life, I talked about this a little, is our life separated into spiritual and secular activities? And should it be? Would it be separated, or is it one whole person? Let's see here. I have one more. Oh, it's a good one for me. Do our mistakes disqualify us from doing what God wants us to do? So those are some of the questions. I'm not going to give you any answers this morning. Hi, my name is and but those are the questions that I'm attempting to get at. It's basically the things that I've struggled with the business in finding my depth. Okay. So I'm not going to talk a bit long. So the next thing, I just want to talk a little bit. There's guys here that work for Open Gates. They're like, okay, that's our company. The book talks a little bit about a company, but it's kind of like for that, it's kind of like the genesis of the concept. Open Gates. Okay, where did that come from? So there was a Jewish prophet named Isaiah, right? And in one of the chapters, it starts out. Some of you might have heard this, but it's like, "Arise, shine, for the light has come." Anybody's heard that one? It's pretty famous. In there, it says, gross darkness has covered the earth, but the light has come. So it's not negative. And we can look around our world and we can say, there's some gross darkness, but the light has come too. And within that, we talk about a time when he's foreseeing, he's prophesying to our age. And he's saying that the gates would be open continually. And that's where I got Open Gates, because he also says very positive things about prosperity and things like that. So that's where that kind of came from. And when you think of Open Gates, if you go back in time, cities had walls around them. The walls kept people out. Okay? But then also at gates, the gates let people in, let people go back and forth. So the gates are the marketplace for today. If you want to take that as an analogy, we got this marketplace, and that's where the action is. And that's what God has us called into, is that marketplace. Because that's where the action is. So I speak about that, and I also just speak about, you got that, let's get this mixed up, horizontal relationship, right? With other people, you got your culture, you got all the business and everything happening in those open gates. But you also have an open gate with heaven, So he's speaking to that. And I wanted to leave you just with this comment before I quit here. Is like, kind of like everybody, most cultures have this concept that there's heaven hours, right? There's some concept of the afterlife. In the United States, probably even more so. And I've got my thoughts about it. But that's kind of like the end thing, right? That's kind of like a reward, where I think the goal is really not going there someday. It's like bringing heaven down here. And what I'm talking about in the book is really encouraging us to go out there and be good and to really bring heaven here on earth. So that's it. That's the book.